Good morning. So today we are doing the Uddhava Gita, and we had last week understood how the Brahmana was able to leave everything and take up sannyasa and go towards liberation. So now let us see what are the consequences if you take this step. Anybody who takes this step, the step of saying that I don't want anything and then leaving the whole universe behind, that means the families, relatives, friends, everything, including properties and all because everybody cheats you out of it. The spouses demand certain things. If the husband's demands are different, the wife's demands are different. The children's demands are different. The parents, if you are living with your parents, the parents have certain control over the individual. Their demands are different. And then the society's norms. You have to conform to everybody. If you are working for some organization or if you are doing some business, there are so many demands on that. And then one day when utter disgust comes to you, you leave the whole world and say, no, I don't want anything. And you walk away from there. You go, say, for example, in India, people think going to the Himalayas or going for all these remote places is the most important thing. So they will go to all these Badri, Kedar, every other place. They think that going to the Himalayas, they will get that tranquility and peace and all those kind of things. So they leave everything and then they wander around. While they wander, they have given up on everything. Food, clothing, shelter, you name it. The idea that comes to them that this everything is so transitory and ephemeral, it doesn't even last. Relationships don't last. Properties don't last. Money doesn't last. Nothing lasts. And when this knowledge dawns on the person, this person says, now I understand. And now he has to go and test out. The biggest test of all times is to go back to the society where they came from in an incognito mode and then see what happens. So we are doing the Uddhava Gita. This is chapter 18. We are starting with verse 32. The rest of the verses I may read fast so that it's a story, so you get an understanding of how it happens. And then when it is right, the explanations have to be given, I will do that. So let us begin chapter 18 from the Uddhava Gita, verse 32 onwards. With his mind, organs and pranas under control, he wandered over the earth alone, entering towns and villages only to beg his food, and none knew who he was. So this Brahmana, he has controlled his mind, organs and pranas. Now these are the three things that you have to control for the outer world. First are the organs. I have given you the understanding. Eyes, they wander here and there. Ears, they want to hear everything. Hey, what's going on? Oh, I want to hear this. The nose wants to smell all the good stuff. And then the bad stuff, I don't like it. So there are likes, dislikes. With the mouth, they want to taste some of the good stuffs in this world. But when it is bitter, when it is salty, tasteless, don't want. The skin. So these are the organs. Plus there are organs of action. I want to do this, I want to do that. Right? I want to touch this. I want to feel this. I want to go here and there. I want to travel the world with my legs. Okay? With the tongue, anything that comes to the mind, the person speaks. Giving opinions left, right and center about the world as if they are the great opinion makers. So they will say, oh, this is worthless. This is completely bad. Using all kinds of words with the mouth or praising somebody to the heavens. Oh, this is a wonderful movie, you know. It's such a wonderful acting. Oh, you got a beautiful daughter, you got a beautiful son. We do this with our tongue. That is the organ of speech, larynx. So using these external organs, then the prana. With the prana, you get involved with everything in the world. There are different kinds of pranas. The control of prana is not there in anybody's hand. Think. Can you hold your breath for 10 minutes? No. Can you stop the supply of blood to your hand and yet the hand will be working? No, you can't do that. See, controlling prana, you can do too many things. But only a yogi of the highest order can do. Not an average human being. They can change the temperature of their fingertips. They can stay in the cold by making their body hot. So if you were to touch that person, you will find that in minus degrees, suppose it is minus 10 or minus 12, yet he is not wearing a stitch of garment on his body. And yet he is able to control his body temperatures. All this is done by prana. So you can control temperatures, you can control the body flows of liquids. Then it is the mind. The worst thing in the world to do is called controlling the mind. It is literally impossible. How many people are able to actually control the mind? Hardly anyone. So this person controls the mind. The mind doesn't wander. So he goes around from town to town. He visits one place and another place and another place. Wandering, just going around. Now sometimes these people, they carry a staff. A staff means a stick. I'm sure you might have seen. If you go to the mountains, when you're climbing the mountains, it is necessary to carry a stick. In our scriptures, there is a mention of this stick. That is why you will find that there are Swamijis with orange color clothes. They carry a stick with them. It's called the danda. That is why they are called Dandi Swamis. Now the Dandi Swamis carry this danda which has got different knots on the stick. The knots signify some things. So it signifies Vishnu and so on and so forth. Let us not go there. So the Dandi Swami's danda is very important. He carries a small bowl, a begging bowl, which doubles into literally everything. For suppose a wet item is given, okay, a watery item is given, then he can use it for his begging. So if there is, say, curd, then he uses that. If it is a dry item like a chapati, roti or something like that, then he has got a jholi. So basically this person is free from all kinds of things. Even that bowl is made from a gourd, pumpkin, dried pumpkin. So it is no value per se. So he wanders around town to town. And when he is doing this, nobody recognizes him. Absolutely nobody recognizes him. To be in spiritual and not to be recognized is the highest spiritual growth. Let me tell you this much. You may wonder, but you should be recognized. People should see you. People should know you. I'm sorry, you are mistaken. You should live in the world and yet nobody should know you. You should live like a lotus. Nobody should actually know you. It should be an incognito. Because you are spiritually the highest. Do you know the number of powers that are there right around this great person? You will be amazed to know. He is the repository of power, and yet nobody knows him. It's so funny. Suppose the people came to know this is a great saint. Do you know what happens? Everybody wants to flock near him. Everybody wants to touch his body. Everybody wants blessings. Everybody wants so many afflictions they may have. I have a heart disease. I have this problem. I have that problem. Oh, these big great Babajis are there. They will bless me. I will become okay. My children are not doing well. They are suffering. Please bless them. See, the whole idea is the moment you are known to people, they just come towards you so that they can take something from you. End of the day, the whole world is begging for something. I want peace of mind. I want this, I want that. And a sadhu and a sannyasi, especially a great sage or a saint, should never operate with people having knowledge who he is. You may wonder, does that work? Of course it works. Sri Krishna was living amongst the people and his own brother had no clue who he was. His own parents had no idea. Do you know how many miracles he performed? In front of Yashoda Maya, he performed tons of miracles. And yet, she didn't know. Nobody understands. So to go about incognito is the greatest thing. So he wandered, this particular Brahmana wandered without any recognition. Nobody recognized him. Now, see what happens when he goes from town to town. Do you know, if you are recognized, suppose you are some person and you are recognized. The great Babaji has come. This great saint has come. Oh, we have to give him something. We have to do this. We have to do that. To stay incognito is a very beautiful thing. In 2019 year end, I visited a Swamiji in the Himalayas. He could not even come from his shack to the place where he gave darshan. Everything had to be in security. There are people who couldn't meet him also. And there was a person with a watch. If you were given 2 minutes time to just look at the Swamiji, after 2 minutes, time is up, time is up, time is up, time is up. Nobody could talk to him. Nobody was allowed near him. Imagine he's walking at the airport. Can he walk like a free man? It is like Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan or Aishwarya Rai walking at the airport. Can you imagine if they are walking somewhere in the middle of the street or something? they will get inundated with number of people around them. Oh, we want autograph, one picture, one selfie, one this. Like that, these Babajis are there. They do not have the freedom to walk amongst people. They require, Z-class security, commandos around them, boxers, bouncers around them. It is a life in jail. Nobody is allowed to do that. Not even touch that fellow. It is so pathetic. I still remember one guy coming to India. He's not from India, but he considers himself as a great saint. He lives abroad. He has got those, very funny hair. One day, one woman accidentally touched him. There were 4 people who literally pounced on her. And then he said, go away. What? This is the way how people are. A saint and a sage should be accessible to everyone, and yet he should not be known to anybody. Then he can do fantastic work in this world. So we will move to the next paragraph, next verse. We are doing Uddhava Gita, chapter 18, verse 33. Now what happens to this person? Now I will read continuously. So verse 33 onwards I will read. Seeing that aged, shabby looking monk, the wicked people, my friends, insulted him with various indignities. This is what happens to you. When you do this kind of a thing, people will insult you. They look at your clothes. They look at your appearance. They look at your clothes and say, look at him. He looks so stupid. It is exactly like that. With this kind of clothes, do you think a person can enter a 5-star hotel? No. Even if he enters a simple hotel, he will be told, get out from here. So, they treated him shabbily. The whole world looked at him and said, you are so ugly, yuck. You have not taken a bath. Your clothes are tattered and torn. Go away from here. Verse 34 says, some took his triple staff and some his begging bowl and water pot. Some took his seat and the rosary of Rudraksha beads, and some his tattered clothes and with wrappers, hand wrappers. People don't allow you to even live in peace. So he is a poor man walking on the streets. That is what everybody thinks. A sage or a saint, but he is not telling the world that he is a sage, he is a saint, he is a knowledgeable person. Nothing. He is just walking like an ordinary beggar. But he has got a kamandalu, a pot of water. He's got a begging bowl. He's got a jholi, in which there is a shawl kind of a thing. He's got his tattered clothes. Maybe he has a paduka, or maybe he's walking barefoot. Doesn't matter. He's got the triple staff. I told you just now about the staff, the stick which he carries. So he's like a sadhu or a saint who is just walking down. And people snatch things away from him. This is how they treat these great sages and saints. Verse 35 and 36 says, then showing them to him, they returned those things, but again snatched them from the silent monk. When he was eating on the riverside, the food he had collected by begging, these rascals defiled it abominably, and spat on his head. He was observing silence, but they made him speak and threatened him if he did not do so. The kind of atrocities this world does, it is terrible. When you see such a kind of a person, they will snatch things from him, then they will give it back to him, they will snatch things from him, they will give it back to him, and they will make him squirm. Have you seen that person in the Middle East who serves you ice cream? He's got a cone. He gives a cone in your hand and then he takes out a scoop and puts it in your this thing. But when he does like this with the stick, the cone comes off from your hands. And then he twists the cone and turns it, and he makes a play of you for at least 5 minutes before he gives you your ice cream. And this is a common thing in the Gulf. Even in some of the Southeast Asian countries, they do that. It is a fun thing. It is like teasing you. You get so upset because somebody has given something to you and it is taken away. Now imagine, you are that person. Your stick is taken away. Okay? Your begging ball is taken away. What is there in the begging ball? Is it so expensive? No. But because people want to become very mean and hard-hearted, they take away things from this person. They take away the kamandalu that is there, the water pot. They break it. They do all kinds of nonsensical stuff. They'll put their hand in his torn garments and tear it further. They will take the shawl from him. They do all kinds of things. And when he is not saying a word, they will tease him to this level that he has to yell at them or say, "Go away from here. Don't trouble me so much." It's a very pathetic life. This knowledge is being given by Sri Krishna to Uddhava. So don't discount this knowledge. This is a necessity. It is not something that you can avoid. For your spiritual development, this is a very, very crucial thing. If you cannot cross this, then you are worthless. You have to be denied things. The whole world has to go against you. You have to be stoned. People have to treat you shabbily. You have to be insulted. You may ask me, why is it necessary? Is it necessary that I have to be treated like this? Yes, it is necessary. Do you think you can become Jesus Christ without that? If you do not understand the suffering, you can never become spiritual in your life. People do not want suffering. They think that, oh, I just want to live my life in peace and quiet. Peace? If you want peace, tranquility, that blissful state and happiness, then I'm sorry, you are a worthless person. You are not on the path of spiritual, sir. If you do not go through sufferings of the worst kind, you have to be stoned, your garments have to be torn, you have to be treated worse than anybody in this world. Nobody should recognize you, they should curse you, they should call you names. If you want your growth to happen, if this thing don't happen to you, then you are not in spiritual. It is called the crushing of the ego. There has to be no ego. We will come to it, just wait. So, showing him, they returned those things. So they snatched them away and then they gave him back. Again snatched them from the silent monk. When he was eating on the river side, the food he had collected by beggings, this rascal defiled it abominably and spat on his head. They will spit in the food. They will do all kinds of, they'll put mud in it. They will dirty it. The food that you are eating, the water that you are drinking, they will defile the water and give you. If this doesn't happen, I can tell you one thing, you have never learned anything. He was observing silence, but they made him speak and threatened him if he did not do so. If you consider the filmy villains as the biggest villains in your life, all the filmy villains, Mogambo Khushwa, all these villains in the life, they torture and all. I'm sorry, those people are worthless. Even the heroes are useless. They can only show the film, oh, I won the girl finally. Ekta tiger. There's nothing like that. Tiger cannot become sage or a saint. He is an average human being. Every day the person is going to be treated badly. Then only you can become the greatest tiger in the world. Like Ramdas. He could walk on the tiger. He could sit on the tiger and walk on the streets. So coming back to our story. So he's treated very shabbily. Verse 37. Others rated him with harsh words, saying, this man is a thief. Some bound him with a rope and some said, bind him, bind him. People, they will tie you up. They will not allow you to even sit in one place. They will say, this person is a thief. He has come to our town so that he can rob things. Otherwise, they will say, this is the person who kidnaps children. This person is just walking through the streets, just begging from some houses. And imagine if this is the condition that he is going through, what is it that is happening to him? Sri Krishna is telling us how this is done. And it has to be done. You may think that is this a part of spiritual development? Yes. Yes. Have you not heard of the greatest saints of the West also? So they also have gone through this. They have also been tortured. If you take Buddha and his life also, it's the same thing. Some taunted him insultingly, saying he is a sharper, but who has put on a mask of religion. Having lost his wealth and being discarded by his kinsmen, he has taken to his profession. Even people will not leave you. They will say, oh, look at his clothes. He's wearing orange color clothes. Oh, he's doing this. Oh, look at him. He's taking the name of God. What? He's a chore. Chore means a robber. He's a person who has come to do. He's a person who is a thief. He's a person who has come to destroy our religion. Our religion teaches such beautiful things. We have to go to temples where we see golden statues and golden temples and go and pray in that. Our gods are made of beautiful stuff, Chandan and this and that. And look at this fellow, what is he teaching? Our gods have to be marvelous, massive gods. And there should be a great person praying to it with the pancharati. This is what people think. God is in that. God is incognito. God walks amongst you, yet nobody knows it. If God is known to people, people will not leave God. Okay? They will trash him, they will take anything and everything that he has. That is why God is not visible to anybody. And if you have these magnificent gods, massive things, that is not God. It is only publicity. Don't fall for it. So here Sri Krishna is telling, this is not an ordinary person who is giving these answers. He is the divine, the almighty, the final. Those who are listening to my Bhagavad Gita Satsangs on Tuesday, we are at this particular stage where Krishna says, I am that ultimate. I am that ultimate. And he is explaining to Uddhava how this Brahmana was treated. If he is in religion, he is saying something, they will treat him worst. Even in my life, I have gone through this. The whole world looked at me with derision. They didn't want me to come even for their weddings. There were some weddings. Nobody invited. My own people derided me. Look at him. He behaves this way. He throws his family away. You think that is something that is not done? It has to be done. If you want your spiritual development to happen, that has to be done. Your own parents, your own wife, your children, your own husband, whoever it might be, whoever you are. If they don't treat you shabbily, if they don't curse you, if they don't call you names, if they don't tell you something bad, they will say, look at him, he is worthless person. Doesn't earn money, sits just like that and talks about God. He's a Behrupia. I'm sorry, I don't know the word in English. They have to call you names. They have to treat you badly. If they don't do, then your growth is never going to be there. If you're treated nicely by your own parents and your relatives and all, I'm sorry, then you are not in spiritual. A spiritual world's development is with sufferings. Your own people have to deride you. They have to trample you. They may beat you. They may do whatever they want to. They may call you whatever names that come. They will throw stones at you. Doesn't matter. You have to go through it. I used to design. I had stores. My own suppliers, the people who were talking to me, they used to call me Rao Sahab and all those names, And suddenly out of the blue, when I came in this, worthless fellow, useless fellow, this, that, so many things. People who knew me, friends and relatives, they look down on their nose, like that. It has to happen. If it doesn't happen, the spiritual development will never happen. Please remember these words. Krishna is telling this is how it has to be. Some taunted him insultingly, saying that he's sharper. Sharper means a person who is a chore, or a robber, who has put on a mask of a religion. Having lost his wealth and being discarded by his kinsmen, he has taken to his profession. Every spiritual person, even if he is rich, if he has money, he cannot progress on the path of spiritual. If you have even a rupee with you, you cannot progress. Let me tell you this much. You have to give it away. People will say he lost everything. No. You have to give away everything. No possessions, not a single possession of yours. A time was there in my life when I discarded all my clothes also. I said, I don't want my clothes. I had discarded everything. And then I said, anybody who has used clothes, please give it to me. I begged of these people. Some people gave me used clothes. I used to wear them regularly. I'm not joking. This is what I used to do. And some of my disciples, when they came and they said, Guruji, you can't wear this kind of used clothes. And then they threw away all those clothes. And then they gave me these t-shirts and pants, jeans. I said, I don't want anything else. And they wanted to keep on giving. They gave me piles of t-shirts. Why? I have so many t-shirts lying in the cupboard which have no value. If you do not go through this stage where you have to wear discarded clothes of other people, you are not going to progress on spiritual. Let me tell you this much. You are going to be a mediocre person. And this is what he is to do. So we move to verse 39. Then people said, oh, he is exceptionally strong and as steady as the Himalayas. He is firm in resolution like a heron and seeks to gain his object by observing silence. Just because the person is not talking, They're pushing him, prodding him, touching him everywhere. They're throwing stones at him, and yet he's silent. They say, oh, he's as strong as the Himalayas. They're just deriding him. They're saying dirty things about him. They're not saying anything good. Verse 40 from chapter 18 of the Uddhava Gita. Thus did some ridicule him. Others treated him shamefully, and some bound and confined him as they do a plaything such as a bird. Have you seen children how they play with birds or animals? Small dogs, and they'll drag them, they'll push them, they'll pull their legs, they'll pull their hair, like that. So they treated him like this. They ridiculed this Brahmana, not realizing what makes you, the listener, think this example which is given by Krishna is not meant for you. You may think, oh, I am not that sannyasi. I am in this material world. I am some manager. I am some this one. I am this. I am that. I am working in a big company. I am getting my salary. Who cares for this kind of a thing? You are in spiritual. That's why you are listening to my satsang. Uddhava is in spiritual. That is why he is asked Krishna these questions. And Sri Krishna himself is answering this. He is telling him this is the path everybody has to go through, including Krishna. You think Krishna did not go through this? You think Sri Ram didn't go through this? What do you think he did for those 14 years? Where he was ridiculed, where he was treated shabbily, nobody knew who he was. If you think these great gods which come on this earth don't go through this, you are mistaken. Somebody asked me about Parshurama some last week. Do you know the amount of trouble Parshurama himself had to go through? Nobody knows this. It is not written in the scriptures. That's why we don't know. Ask me, I will tell you. All these great sages, saints, gods, almighty gods, Jesus Christ, people, Jesus Christ, they will say. Jesus Christ himself had to go through this. Buddha had to go through this. Tukaram Maharaj, to Sai Baba, to everybody has to go through this. Otherwise they can never become great. Nobody can become great. So you have to go through these troubles, okay? And if you think that spirituality is just, oh, I joined classes, I did yogasana, I did kriya yoga, I met Babaji from the Himalayas. You can meet Babaji or whoever, doesn't matter. Still your spiritual thing is going to be minimal. You can meet the highest God also. You can meet Shiva also. And yet he may bless you. He'll say, oh, bless you, my dear son. Shiva may bless you. Vishnu may bless you. You think Shiva didn't bless Ravana? You think he didn't bless all these devils also? Yes. You are also that devil. And if you think you are going to get blessing of Shiva just because you go to Kailasha mountain and you meet somebody over there, it's of no use, sir. Till you don't go through this journey, you are not going to become Shiva. Nowhere. If you are thinking that my life is good, I go to ashrams, I do this yogasana, I do this puja, I do this, prayers and all that kind of thing, I put the tika over here. You are useless. Count yourself equivalent to some of those shendiwalaps, keep on talking. Your worth is only that much. You want to become spiritually perfect, you have to go through this. Now let us see the next verse. Verse 41 from chapter 18 of the Uddhava Gita. Sri Krishna says to Uddhava, he's telling him the story. Thus, whatever trouble befell him, whether they sprang from the animal kingdom, natural phenomena, or bodily ailments, he thought they were predestined and therefore must be silently borne. If somebody says something to you, you get so upset. Just your boss saying you're such a useless person. Maybe nobody wants to talk to you. Maybe your own wife will say, look at him, he just sits over there. Anything, all kinds of troubles may come. They may come from animals. Animals will come and bite you. The snakes will bite you. Anything can happen, including the crows can, the crows will shit on your head. The vultures can come to bite you. The eagles can drop. Anything can happen. It can come from animal kingdom, bird kingdom, whichever. Doesn't matter. It has to happen. It better happen. Then, natural phenomena, floods, all these things which happen, landslides, rain, all these, cold, hot, weather, and bodily ailments. You may suffer from different kinds of ailments. This is the way in which things happen to a person who is on the path of spiritual. These are nothing but different kind. Do you remember those 3 words that we have? Adibhuta, Adidaiva and Adhyatmika. These are the 3 calamities that have to come to you. You have to fall sick. You have to be on your deathbed. You think these people are not been on their deathbed? Ask anybody. All the great sages, saints who have reached that ultimate, they have to go through this. They have to be sickly. They have to go through different troubles, from ailments from every different sphere. When they are walking on the streets, their legs have to get cut. Everything has to happen. So, this Brahmana thinks of it as nothing but predestined. Destiny has written this for me. And you have to silently bear that. You are in the path of spiritual. If you give back to a person, if you give back to anybody saying that, how can you talk to me like this? How can you treat me like this? Your spiritual development is never going to be there. Some people think, they have these great ideas. Guruji, I come from your, loka. You will anyway take us over there. Okay? Right, very good. So you think you are from this group and you will be taken to a loka? Sir, do you know in the loka also there is a gradation from the highest to the lowest? It's just like a house, house. The lokas are like house. Imagine you are going to Brahma Loka or Indra Loka. Now in Indra Loka, you have to go, let us say. Indra is sitting on his grand chair. There are all his cronies sitting on both the sides. There are dancers dancing over there, pouring out beautiful, amrita. I don't know what all things that they pour out. There is a nice food kept over there on the table. Yes, sir. You have been promoted to Indra Loka. In Indra Loka, there are vacancies. There are vacancies of waiters. Somebody who polishes the shoe. So you wanted to go to Indra Loka, is it? Of course Indra will take you there. He has a requirement for all those people who look after his horses. They have to remove the horse dung. You are in Indra Loka, of course, but you are doing this kind of a job. If you do not come up to the standards which clearly define goodness, and you may be still from that loka, you may become the person who sweeps the dung. You may become a water boy. You may become an assistant to an assistant to an assistant. So those who have this grand idea that Guruji, we will go to your loka. Sorry, boss. If you are going to misbehave, if you think that you can talk whatever that you feel like, you think that you can be whosoever you feel like, you think I don't require those kind of dogs in my heaven also? Your position will be treated more like a dog. Tommy Choo. So please understand, if you do not show that goodness, then the thing is the jobs are there in that heaven also. What jobs are there? What is the job of Adishesh? Curl on mattress. I know it may sound like a joke to you, but that is the job of Adishesh. There are people standing over there in front of Narayana. What are they? What is it that you want to be? So you decide on your own position in that place and work accordingly. If you do not understand how to bear these insults and all this silently, you can never become that divine person. You want to sit with the divine. You want to sit in Indra's table and have lunch and dinner and all those things. If you want to be with Brahmaji and Shiv and close to him and close to his sons maybe, don't be a mediocre person. You think his Ganas don't do anything? You will be Gana's assistant. That is the heaven you want? You want to go to Kailasha? Huh? So please remember, there are positions of servant and servants also. Assistant to that assistant to an assistant. So what are you talking about? You can still go to that heaven and enjoy yourself, if that is what you want. And tomorrow when you come to the earth, oh, I came from Indra's heaven, It is exactly how people who go to the Middle East and the Americas and Australias and all these countries, Singapore's and all this world, they will go to that country. They are a third class citizen over there. In the Middle East, they are working as oilmen, that small positions, some very cheap positions. And when they come home, I brought so much gold, from Dubai. I built houses in Kerala. Sir, you are a servant of the servant of the servant in that country. You are a worthless fellow. You may be a CEO of a top organization, but yet you are a servant in the America. And here you may come and you may start, oh, I am doing this institution, I am starting this, I am starting that. What? Of course, those people over there, all the bosses over there, all the money people, they have idiots like you working as a CEO of an organization. You go to India and you show off. I spoke in Harvard. Okay? You are a chaprasi, a clerk in that country. You don't have any status. So you may be working in the Gulf and making a lot of money. You may be working in America and making a lot of money. You may be working in Australia and making a lot of money, but you're still a bloody waiter. So this is the position you can get in Indra's heaven or any other heaven. So learn to be nice to people. Don't think that you can treat people shabbily. This is what he says. You have to bear everything silently and not utter a single word. Those other people are allowed to say and do everything. Krishna doesn't utter words just like that. Please remember this. Now we are doing a verse which is going to be a shocker. Let us listen to the verse. We have come till verse 41. So now we are going to verse 42 onwards. Very shortly we will enter that zone. Even though insulted by rascals who sought to lead astray, he clung to his path of duty by practicing the pure form of steadiness and sang this song. So this was the song. Anybody can treat you any which way they like. The whole world can crush you, crumble you, make you into a mincemeat. They can, treat you like a dustbin. And they better do it to you. If you want to become spiritually perfect, they should treat you like a doormat, a dustbin, or whatever. And you should not utter a single word. You have to be silent. You have to silently take in that treatment. Do you think Jesus Christ shouted at people, "Hey, don't eat me! Hey, what are you doing?" You think this is what Jesus Christ did? Sri Krishna is telling you this story not for the heck of it. He is telling you if you don't go through this kind of troubles, your story is not going to progress anywhere. Because till you do not overcome the three, the senses, which is the body, the organs, the breath, the mind. If these three you cannot overcome, how will you be able to go through this? The answers will be revealed. How they are going to be revealed, you will come to know. Because everything is depending on your reaction. Nothing is dependent on the past and the present. Please remember this. How do you react to the situation? Everything is dependent on how you react to the situation. If your parents call you names, they slap you, they trash you, they do whatever they want to. And if you are in spiritual, if you open your mouth and saying even a single word, or even if in your mind the thought comes that something, these people need to get a lesson, even this line comes to you, your spiritual development is never going to happen. Even by mistake, the thought should never come. Spiritual progress is where nothing like this ever happens. You have to bear all the insults, you have to bear everything in this world. If you don't bear it, your spiritual progress is not going to happen, sir. Or madam, whoever. If you respond to anything, your mind is responding. So, now we will move to verse 43. The Brahmana said, this is the poem that he said. Krishna is telling us what he said. Verse 43 from chapter 18 of the Uddhava Gita. Neither is this body the cause of pleasure and pain, nor the Atma, nor the gods, nor the planets, nor work, nor time. The only cause of pleasure and pain, the Shrutis declare, is the mind, which sets in motion this cycle of transmigration. It's a revelation, isn't it? Neither in this body there is a cause of pleasure and pain. I feel happy, I feel sad, I feel upset. I get angry. I get this. I get that. Everybody says this, isn't it? There is so much of pain and there is so much of pleasure. The pleasure is, wow, this is such a beautiful place. Wow, these 5-star facilities are so good. Did you see the soap that they gave in the hotel? The shampoo? Aha. You are bothered about those kind of things. Nike shoes. They are so wonderful. You just put your foot in it and the shoe closes. So joyful. I need shoes for walking. I need shoes for running. I need shoes for jogging. Oh, there are different shoes for that. You want all those things for the joy of your life. For basic necessity also you still have requirements. My food has to come from here, my milk has to come from there, this has to come from... Oh yes, of course, you are the one who is enjoying. So he says, this body, the cause of the pleasure and pain, this is the pleasure and the pain that the body goes through. Even the Atma, nor the Atma. Who is responsible? The Atma is not responsible for this joy and this pain and whatever that you get. You may think the Atma is responsible, not at all. Nor the gods. The gods are not responsible for the pain that you're going through. Every time when you look at God and say to God, God, why are you giving me these troubles? Sir, you are in the wrong. You are going to go to hell. I can guarantee you this much. The moment you start pointing fingers to God and saying, you are responsible. And when you say these words, the gods are not responsible, nor the planets. People go to these astrologers and they say, oh, this planet is in ascendant, this fellow is in descendant, and then Rahu is there, Ketu is there, Falama is there, Tikna. Every day they will keep on saying all these kind of words. Because of that, the planets are there, that is why you are suffering. No, sir. Sri Krishna is telling. Brahmana said these words. It is Sri Krishna who is telling. Please remember this. The planets are not responsible for it. Nor is time. You may think, Mera samay bahut kharab aaya hai. What do you mean by that? Your time is not bad, sir. No. Don't blame time for it. Samay ki baat hai. This is the part of time, During those days. What those days? This verse we are going to do again, okay? Don't worry. We will be recapping it tomorrow. None of these are responsible. The only cause, the only one single cause of this pleasure and pain. This is written in all our scriptures. Sri Krishna himself is saying, and here I am telling you that. It is declared in all the scriptures. These things which happen to you, the only cause, the reason for it is your mind. M-I-N-D. Which sets in motion the cycle of transmigration. It is because of your mind that you are setting this ball in motion. You will be born again and again and again and again and again. Not as a human being. Those who dwell in their mind and keep on thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, do you know how many births are guaranteed to them? They are going to be born as kidas, makoda, you name it. Mosquitoes, all kinds of creatures. You are going to get those births if you keep on dwelling in your mind. If your mind is carrying even this much of iota, and if you say to somebody else that this is the person who is, you are blaming them. Don't blame anybody else. It is your mind. Such is the declarations of the Shrutis, Sri Krishna's, and in this satsang. So we have come to the end of verse 43 Tomorrow, I will tell you further how this mind is responsible for your mess ups. So, see you all. Take care. Have a great day. I will see you all tomorrow at the same time. Bye.